Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews. You can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I will be posting my homies and Mock Love's live set tomorrow at around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so check that out. Definitely stoked to have them do a live set, also an interview with them coming out really soon, as well as I'll be posting an interview with Waste and Kayeko. Check them both out, they're awesome as well, and check out our previous interviews that we've done. Been a really busy week, so I've been trying to get it all done. Also, I'll be doing an album review of Villain of the Story's new record as well, so be on the lookout for that, and anything else over this weekend I'm going to try to get to as soon as possible. But tonight we're going to be talking about Roseview's new record, The Misery in Me. So I just want to give a huge shout out to Kathleen over at Tragic Heroes. She was the one who sent me this over a little bit early, and unfortunately I just had so much stuff going on that I didn't get around to it. But I wanted to give this band a listen because they actually toured with my homies in Sentinels. Shoutouts to them. Yo guys, come back on. I'd really like to do another interview. But anyway, they went on tour with them, and that's how I found out about this band initially. And so when I heard that I was going to be getting their record early, I was really stoked on it because I didn't know what to expect. I had never heard of any of their music before. I didn't even check out any of the singles, so I was just going into this with like kind of a fresh perspective. But I'm gonna go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on them, go through some pros and cons, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is called Retrace. This one's one of my favorites. I love that the intro has this sort of ambient, like pretty, really cool open guitar lines. I think it's really sick when bands do that. I always appreciate that, just because I'm a guitar player myself, and those are the things that I love kind of picking out whenever I do reviews. But the band kind of comes in at around the 30-second mark, and the screaming comes in a little bit later on, probably closer to the 45-second, maybe like under the minute mark. But I think the screaming is really kind of the thing that sets this band apart, and along with this clean singing as well. I think that their vocalist kind of does a mix of these really kind of mid-range, like growly sort of screams, which is awesome. And then he also does some like kind of yells. I don't really know how to elaborate it, and I've never been really good at elating it either, but I really appreciate that. Kind of reminds me a lot of Sam Carter from Architects. I always appreciate when bands kind of emulate that or do that. As well as the song also has this sort of While She Sleeps sorts of vibe to it. I know that they are a melodic hardcore band, but I feel like they draw a lot of inspiration from them, at least in my personal opinion, from what I could pick out from the songs. But I definitely dig the vibe of that. While She Sleeps is one of my favorite bands, so I definitely love that. You can definitely hear it in the chorus, which is more apparent, I would say, as well as it being one of my favorite parts of the track as well. And there's this really sick breakdown at around the 2 minutes and 10-second mark to around the 2 minutes and 30-second mark. I thought it was really tight. But overall, I think this track is a great opener track, and it really kind of gives you an idea of what the rest of the record will pan out to be if you hadn't listened to the singles already. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is Leap. This is one of the singles that had been released. I think it was the second song that a Tragic Hero released, but I thought that this one was really interesting, as I mentioned earlier, with the sort of yelling or singing. It kind of rides that line between both, which I think is always really impressive to me as somebody who listens to a lot of this like melodic hardcore, metalcore, that sort of stuff. I always appreciate when bands kind of try to do something a little bit different to make them unique. I definitely feel like that makes them unique for sure. The instrumentations, again, have that melodic hardcore quality. Obviously, they are a melodic hardcore band, similar to bands like Counterparts. I heard a little bit of Converge in there as well. Obviously, I'm not that well in tune to melodic hardcore, but there are some bands that I know that I'm familiar with. I like the open qualities to their writing. I think it really highlights, especially towards the latter half of this song. It really has that sort of open, sort of building quality to it. But I think it, again, speaking about building, I think it really builds to an awesome crescendo part in the track. I think it is a really unique track that has some really cool influences that you can kind of pick out in this song. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is Haze. This one's my personal favorite, maybe along with Home, I think is another favorite of mine, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I really enjoy this track because it really feels like a 180 in comparison to a lot of the other tracks that you'll hear on this record. I think that just in terms of the sort of softness and smoothness that you get from this song, it is mainly clean driven, and I think it shows off more of their softer, more tender moments in this track. And I think that it definitely has that sort of Black Sheep quality to it. It really sticks out, and it's one of those tracks that every time I was listening to the record, I was like, man, first of all, I love this track, and secondly, it's just so different from the rest of it. The instrumentation plays well with sort of the mood. It's a little bit more softer, it's a little bit more mellow, and it really fits with the song. But I think that most people, while listening to either the singles or just the record in general, I think will not expect this track at all from this band, which is really cool. And I like that it is a curveball in that sense. But the song definitely has a big build towards the end as well, which really makes it kind of tie into the rest of the record, really bringing in sort of that little bit of edge to the end of this track. So we're going to move into track number 4, which is Reach. This one has a sick groove and bounce to it. I think the vocals still have something that just stick out to me. I think it's just the uniqueness and the way that he sings, kind of screams and kind of yells all at the same part. I think it's just really textured, and I love just the gritty nature of his vocals. And I don't even think it's in a natural state, because obviously he did a very clean driven track in Haze, but I just love the way that he kind of puts a little bit of tone or tonality into his vocals and screaming, which I find super impressive. And there's another really cool breakdown in Reach at the 2 minutes and 5 second mark to around the 2 minutes and 25 second mark. I think it was a really cool one. This one is kind of outside of my favorites, but maybe it's getting there as the more I listen to it. So we're going to move into track number 5, which is Step. This one is one of my favorites as well. And this one just gets straight to the point. If you're expecting one of those tracks that just kind of hits you right out the gate, I would definitely check out Step. I think if you're really kind of missing those heavy in-your-face moments, I think this one is definitely the track for you. But I definitely feel like this track is not without its problems. I think the chorus definitely feels out of place in this song, and it kind of stops the whole momentum and the whole just like gritty, angry, just aggressive moments of this track. But I definitely feel like around the 1 minute and 20 second mark to around the 1 minute and 40 second mark, just that breakdown and just that hardness really kind of made up for the track. But overall, I think it went well, but I think they could have done without the chorus in this track. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Graveyard. This is another single that had been released actually fairly recently. I think it was released last week, and this track displays some really great qualities about this band, Roseview. I think it has some really heavy moments found throughout the song, but also has just this melodicness that they're able to kind of weave in and out of the song. The chorus is definitely the strongest example of that, and the lead guitar work definitely makes the song stand out for sure. I think it is a little bit underrated in this album in general, but I really feel like this one pulls out a lot of that sort of lead textures in the song. I think it is structured very well, and I just feel like the vibe of the song is also solid as well. So we're going to move into track number 7, which is Home. This one is one of my favorites, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm really digging the energy and vibe of this one. I really feel like they hit their stride in this track, and it just has that right amount of edge or bite to it without really sacrificing the sort of melodic qualities that I expect from this band. It is easily one of my favorite choruses off the entire record, and I think it's the best example of that sort of heavy melodic switch off between songs. I think also being that it is just so well arranged, and I think it's very memorable. It's definitely one of those songs that I remember when I'm going through and listening to it on multiple occasions. I think that this one definitely sticks out to me personally, and I think they definitely put their best foot forward in this track, and I'd love for them to kind of continue on in that sort of direction with this one. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is Ghost. This one is another favorite of mine, and for much of the same reasons of why I liked Home are some of the similar reasons why I like Ghost. However, I think that the way that they kind of differentiate how I like them is that this one has more of a heavy, more aggressive forward track in terms of instrumentation and just vocals, but I still think it has a lot of the great qualities of having melodicness, but also really just kind of driving home a lot of the structural integrity of the track in just a really great way. I think they also did a lot of like expansiveness in this track as well. They really kind of broke out of their mold a little bit, and I think is another super strong chorus, and the breakdown as well is really cool in this track too. But overall, I think this one, again, is a great follow-up to Home, and I think they really kind of counterplay together super well. So we're going to move into track number 9, which is Tunnel Vision. This is the first single that Roseview released, and it happens to be another one of my favorites as well. Digging the change up in tempo from the verses to the choruses, I think that is really cool, and I think it's a little bit underlying to maybe most people, or I don't know, maybe a lot of people are kind of good at that sort of stuff and picking that out, but I love the dynamic change. I think it really brings a unique aspect to the track and just pacing of the track as well. There's this awesome sort of section at the 1 minute and 50-second mark to around the 2 minutes and 45-second mark that is just absolutely tight. Even listening to it now and multiple times previous to that, it just still gets me. I love that build up, and the breakdown is just so dark and angry, and I think it just fits with the whole vibe of this just track in general. So we're gonna move into the last track number 10, which is December. The verses on this track definitely remind me a little bit of Being as an Ocean. I also feel like the delivery also has a lot to kind of play into that, and I think the juxtaposition of sort of the softer verses with the sort of aggressive vocals, I think adds a nice contrast with the song. I also feel like the chorus definitely builds to a big part of the song and really makes the song kind of complete, and definitely combines a lot of aspects of this record that I thought were really good. A really solid song to finish the record off with, without a doubt. So we're going to move into some pros and cons on the record. I think that some pros, I think it's balanced. It has a proper mix of heaviness, but also has a really great mix of melodicness as well. I think vocally it's very interesting. It can play anywhere from sort of just really aggressive screams to kind of that yell, sort of singing, like that melodic yelling. I don't even know how to describe it. And then there's also some really great cleans that are really utilized in tracks like Haze and Home. But I think that this record isn't without its flaws either. Some cons that I have, I would have loved to hear some more cleans. As I mentioned, I think the two best tracks are Haze and Home, and Ghost probably being another really kind of in the mix track. But I think those two collectively have the best aspects of Roseview, and I'd love to hear just kind of straight cleans, nothing with any sort of grid on it. I would have loved to just hear just straight cleans, because I think his clean vocals are really something that stuck out to me, and it was something that I thought was personally really interesting about this band. And also I think I'd love to just kind of hear the more expansive range of it, because it was kind of, I wouldn't even say one-noted, but I feel like it kept to a certain sort of range in the song, and it really didn't kind of go off of it, even though it was really good. I think some structural changes could have been fixed, especially in step. I think the choruses were unneeded, but that I'm not in the band, so I'm just making a suggestion. And then lastly, I think that the first half of the record is a little bit slower than the second half, in terms of just quality. I think that the second half definitely beats it by a landslide. I think that they really kind of came into their own on the second half of this record, as opposed to maybe the first half. So my overall rating for Roseview's The Misery in Me, I'm going to be giving it a 9.2 out of 10. I definitely feel like it's a band you should check out if you're a fan of of melodic hardcore and even kind of like borderline melodic metalcore as well. I think it kind of finesses both of those things. So definitely interested to see what this band does next, and future releases from them as well. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about this record. It comes out today, so go check it out on Tragic Hero Records. And I would love to just hear your thoughts about it. If you are in the band, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the recording process as well. And if you agree with me or disagree, or have some kind of informational things that maybe add that I may have missed out on, because there's plenty of stuff that I could miss out on. So if you enjoy this review, make sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share it. Some really awesome reviews coming this upcoming week into next week. Some real bangers. I'm like not even joking with you. It's super sick, and I'm so glad that things are just moving in that awesome direction. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.